What's up, Tweeners? Welcome back to another Tweener tennis video today here on the channel, and I am very excited to bring you this interview with Old Dominion University head coach Dominic Mueller. Probably one of the most insightful coaches I have ever met. This is our first stop on our college tennis tour of 2022, and I don't think I could have asked for a better interview to start it with. Dom provides a lot of insight into his coaching philosophy, his insight into how he taught, the way he teaches his players now, what it's like to coach such an international team with different personalities all together. And I'm just gonna put this in the video for him. This guy has a lot of bling to show off. I just have to put that out there. From Baylor to now at Old Dominion, this guy's been doing a lot of great things. So I wanted to bring you this interview with Dom, and I hope you guys enjoy this. Make sure to leave a like on this video if you do appreciate this type of content, and make sure you are subscribed. We're trying to get to 2,500 subscribers by the end of this month, so make sure you do that, and I hope to see you in the next one. Enjoy the interview. Thank you for allowing me to do this, first of all. It's been a lot of fun just kind of getting to know this program and seeing you guys practice. I think a lot of people don't get to see that side of it. So I think, and we've talked and we had breakfast this morning, I think the first question I have to ask you in terms of just your coaching philosophy, how would you describe it? Just in general.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the pillars of our program that we talked about in our locker room. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the main one is the relaxed intensity. Yeah, that's really what I'm trying to create. Yeah, without going into too much detail.
Yeah. You can do it.
No. I mean, to keep it broad as a coaching philosophy, I think I would consider myself. Yeah, I mean, we are in a profession where we use a lot of cliches, and some of them are just true. And there's a reason why they're cliche. I consider myself a player's coach. Okay. Yeah, who's approachable, where the guys really are not afraid to talk to me. Yeah, obviously where there's a boundary to a degree. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and where sometimes you need to be tough. But in general, I'm trying to create an environment where it's inclusive, where the guys have input, where the guys, where we have a dialogue. Where it's not just I'm telling you what to do all the time and you just listen. But where's the dialogue? Where I want to have the feedback of my. I'm not saying all the time. Every time a guy gives me feedback that I'm incorporating all of that, but I'm listening and I'm trying to see, is there merit to it, mm-hmm. and creating that environment where we practice hard, but we're also having a good time at the same time to really maximize them. And then on the other hand, really trying to individualize our approach. That it's not like we have one program and that not everybody has to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're just, sure, there are drills that we all do the same, but everybody has a different game style, has different strength. Mm-hmm. So even though in certain areas we're focusing, and there are certain things I want all of them to do, but there are also areas where we coach each guy individually based on their strength and tendencies.
Do you think they thrive more in that team aspect? Because tennis is such an individual sport, and I know you've played at Baylor, and you've kind of seen the experience yourself. Do you think these players thrive in a more team aspect, or you're talking about that individual self? Is it a combination of both? Do you think they do better as a team, but still, and that makes them play better as an individual?
I think you see both.
Okay.
I think in the majority of college players thrive in it. Mm-hmm. I think the interesting thing is I think most of these players don't even know until they come to campus. I think that's one of the most difficult things in recruiting in tennis. Is, of course, we know the results, and I think most of coaches know sort of a level, but you don't know how well they thrive in a team environment because they don't have it. Yeah. Like a basketball coach, a basketball freshman in high school is already playing in a team. Yeah. A high school recruit in football, basketball, they don't have to teach them to be within a team because that's what they grow up. Exactly. Our guys, they don't, because they are not. Yeah. Sure, there's club matches in some countries, and there's a little bit of that, but it's still not the same. Yeah. So I've seen kids that really thrive, and I think the majority they thrive because there is this team abound. But there are kids that actually perform worse in dual matches because they feel for the team. They feel the pressure of the team. Okay. Yeah, I've had guys that talk to me, it's like, I feel more pressure in a dual match because I feel like if I lose, I let the team down. Mm-hmm. If I lose a fall match, that's just my individual. It has nothing to do with the team. Yeah. And that's another thing. It's hard to blame the kid. If a kid tells me I'm feeling pressure because I'm afraid to let the team down, well, it's obviously something you want to work on and fix. Yeah. But not something you can be mad about. So, I think you see both, but the majority of kids I think thrive in that environment.
What kind of coaching did you take from Baylor as a player into your role here at ODU?
Well, that's a great question. I would think every coach in every sport takes pieces from their mentors or coaches that they played for throughout their whole life, and they piece it together. And make it, and that's how you make your own program. I don't think any coach in college tennis, I don't think Brian Shelton invented college tennis or a certain philosophy last year. I think the best coaches in our profession take advice or take things that they like from different coaches and mold it into their own program. And I think that's the same I did. I took pieces from my playing careers at Baylor. I take drills or pieces from my junior coaches. And I think the biggest thing is that you stay true to yourself. Again, there's different ways how you can be successful. The biggest thing is that you commit to your way. And I think some of the things that I really took from Baylor was the professional approach, was the hard work, was the team camaraderie. And again, there are certain aspects and certain drills that I took with me, and there are certain things I twisted a little bit. There are things that we did there and I'm doing sort of, but twisted it my own way. There are things that we're not doing at all, like we did it at Baylor. So, that's how I would describe it.
Did you mold your model after someone that coached you? Besides your coaches, do you think you took a specific philosophy from someone into this role? Like, did you have a role model that you kind of looked towards to help you with this process?
I think by nature, Matt Knoll is my mentor. I played for him. I was able to coach with him and for him for 6 years. So obviously, especially when it comes to college mold, he had a huge impact on me. And there's a lot of things that you see in our program that are probably similar to my playing days or my time as the assistant there at Baylor. But as I said, I wouldn't say that 80% of our program is the Baylor way. It's like the things that I felt like were beneficial for me, or the things that I really felt like were successful in our approach that I took here. And there's some ways that we're doing differently or that I twisted a little bit. But in general, he has been my mentor, and he's still helping me now in that way.
And I think I wanted to bring up some of the stuff that we talked about during breakfast, and when we talked about recruiting and the season. Let's just start with the recruiting part of it. Your whole team's international. Your whole coaching staff is international. Tennis is an international sport, and I think there were some things that I personally, and maybe tennis fans out there, don't understand of why you don't have, especially being at an American school. And this might just be the naive part of this question, but why an all-international team?
As I told you in breakfast, it's not like we're avoiding it. We had Americans on the team, and we are trying to recruit Americans. But at the end of the day, we want to find the best available fit for our program. And I think I tried to explain it in breakfast. I think it's just not one answer. There's so many aspects, and the number one and maybe the easiest, tennis is an international sport. Basketball, football, baseball, they're maybe a little more American sports. Golf and swimming, or soccer. There's some other sports that are very heavy.
The pool is just so much larger for tennis around the world rather than the Americans. And I think you said this as well before. In Virginia, not many players that are looking or are in Virginia that maybe aren't up to the playing standards as you're finding overseas who are playing ITF juniors, who are playing futures already at that age. So you have more to kind of look through and pick from.
And when we talked about that if we all think about the best American players on both men and women, if you look at the top 100, let's say the top 200, a lot of the best top Americans have one of two things in common. One, their parents have an immigration background or some kind of an ethnic background, or their parents have been tennis players. You don't see a whole lot of elite American tennis players where there's no tennis background in their family. And I think that sometimes gets lost in that conversation. And again, I don't think anybody in the country avoids Americans to have on their team.
Of course.
Neither do we. But at the end of the day, we are hired to put the best product out there. And if this is the best available players that we feel like are the best fit for us, then that's what we're thinking. So I would love to have a kid from Virginia on the team. I mean, just as basic as when it comes to scholarship and in-state, we would love that. But right now, if you go on tennis recruiting on the top 100 list, there's not a lot of kids from Virginia. And I think you also see that when you look at the UVA and the Virginia Tech rosters. Yeah, they don't have that many Virginia kids on their roster either, and it's also not because they're avoiding them. Right now, currently, we're going through a little wave in Virginia, but we don't have a lot of great in-state talent.
Yeah, and I agree to that because it seems like, and people, I think the general question people can relate to this on tennis Twitter is just how come you don't see that many Americans like thriving as we did in the 90s or 80s? Because kids born in the United States, tennis is not the first sport that their parents introduced them to. And it's harder for them with a larger spectrum of sports that they go through until they show interest in tennis. It's not like you can say, oh, I want this kid to play tennis when they're growing up. No, because that's not the market that the United States is kind of brought up on. And we talked about for baseball, sure, you have Dominican Republic, you have Cuban, you have maybe some from Japan, but the pool's from the United States. So it makes it really tough to kind of answer that question. And plus, all the kids that are good are either going pro now or are going to Florida, USC. And as a mid-major school, you guys have probably one of the best facilities that I've seen. So kind of transitioning into the season, you guys, in terms of recruiting, you're very honest with how you recruit. You tell them what they need to know, and then they make their decision, correct? So when you say, do you want to be a part of a team that's ranked 30, 40, but you guys won't have a shot of winning a conference title, your program has a men's and women's team inside the top 75, and both of them are competing for a title each year. You're either the 1 seed or the 2 seed. How do you just expect to have success throughout the season? I feel like you guys just are already in the winning mentality of, all right, we're going to go in, we're going to do this.
Absolutely, and I think you have to have that. And I think that's one of the things that we needed to establish here when I got here, is that winning expectations. I don't think you have ever seen anybody on the Pro Tour holding up a trophy, winning a tournament, afterwards saying in an interview, oh, but I didn't expect that was possible. Right? I don't think I've ever seen that in any winner in any sports. Everybody said, you always, when you watch these movies, there's always that moment where that athlete or that team started to believe. Or that expectations. Otherwise, it's not possible. If we're not going into the season expecting or believing we can win the conference, then we're not going to have a shot. So, and obviously, you got to back it up, right? I mean, everybody can say, we want to win the conference, but at some stage down the road, I think the players are realizing that this is not going to happen. And that's part of building a program and building a culture and bringing in the kids, because right now we have new freshmen coming in and the leadership in the locker room is telling them, this is our expectations. You're coming in here to Old Dominion with those expectations. So now, our new guys, they're getting molded, or they're getting that inside the locker room, from their own teammates. But you're absolutely right, that's every year our expectations, and I mean, and it should be as a competitor.
It should be, especially for a program like yourself that's been built and has had so much success, and just looking at your ring locker just adds motivation to it, at least in my opinion. I know you don't wear them, but I think when it comes to your goals for the season, it seems like conference is one. If you make the NCAA tournament, that seems like not as much as a priority, because I personally have not heard you say, we're going to make the NCAA tournament, that's one of our goals. It's always, we're winning conference.
Well, because that's obviously a way to qualify with the automatic win.
Yes, of course.
But we do, when we talk about our goal setting within the team, we are talking about making the tournament at large. Where we want to get to that threshold of 30s to 40s where you're in that range. So that is definitely what we are talking about as a goal setting, but we're talking more about in the progress way. We really give you an example. We're playing Auburn next week. We have not talked about Auburn the whole week. Even though it's next week, it's really like that next match because
it's day by day mentality.
It's really it's like, hey, we're only focusing on Penn State right now because if we take care of that, then that's going to help us down the road for our goals. Yeah. We're not talking about if we win or lose against Penn State, that's what's going to happen to our ranking.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you focus about the progress, the outcome will follow. The outcome will eventually come.
It's really fascinating to see that kind of mentality to have, especially in tennis, because you can't have doubt at all.
Yeah.
Like how do you kind of internalize that idea of maybe our players aren't going to win, or like how do you internalize just showing or glowing confidence? How do you kind of keep that same mentality every day?
I think number one, you have trust in your guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the recruiting. That you recruit the right guys and you can trust them.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell our guys all the time that I trust them. I don't want any other 6 guys out there tomorrow competing than those 6 guys that I have on my team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade any of them for other 6 players.
Yeah.
Yeah. And preparation is the other one. Right, I think if you put the right preparation in there, I mean that's essentially how you have confidence.
Yeah.
Right, I mean you're not just showing up tomorrow on match day magically having confidence.
Yeah.
And I think the word confidence is also very overrated. Again,
really?
don't get me wrong. Yes, because
why?
Because confidence is not something that, again, as I said, suddenly appears or disappears. Confidence is something that you work for. Yeah, it's not. Nobody just one day you didn't have confidence and the next day you have confidence. How does confidence happen? It happens because you put the work in, and over time, with progress, you have the outcomes that you desire, and then you feel good about yourself. Yeah, but it's not an on and off switch where it's like, okay, today I have confidence, tomorrow I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is also why I honestly. You can ask, I guess, I don't like talking a lot about confidence with the guys.
Really?
Yeah, because if they tell me I don't have confidence, then you're focusing too much on that. I don't want to, in their mind, thinking if they don't have confidence, they cannot win the match.
So you've never said be confident like throughout a match to a player?
Yeah, but that's a little.
How is that different?
Being confident or projecting confidence, I think, is a different thing than having confidence.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's your body language. It's showing the belief.
Yeah.
But that's something you can control.
Okay.
Yeah? You cannot control if you feel good about your strokes.
Mm-hmm.
Like tomorrow, I have no idea how many of my guys are gonna wake up feeling good about their forehands. It can be 3 guys, can be 4 guys.
Could be 1, could be all of them.
Correct, but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I focus too much on confidence, but only 2 of my guys feel good about their forehand tomorrow, then we have no chance to win. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to send a message to them. It doesn't matter how good you feel about your forehand.
Yeah.
Your forehand is going to be good enough tomorrow to win. Because I believe that you are better than your opponent, that you fight better than your opponent, that you overcome adversity better about your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that when you really spend a lot of time around our program, I don't know if you caught that already.
Yeah.
I don't talk about my guy. I never said today I need you guys to play good tomorrow.
No, you never said that.
Yeah.
No.
And I don't, because they don't need to play good tomorrow to win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody can win playing good or feeling good. Everybody can do that. That's the easiest thing in the world.
Oh, because then you're like 100%.
Correct. The tough thing is not feeling good.
Yeah.
Not having confidence in your strokes and finding a way to win. That's the championship team. I promise you, if you ask the Florida team, I doubt that every single guy, all 6 guys that played in the singles lineup last year, felt great in Orlando. There's zero chance. There's zero chance that Novak Djokovic, maybe let's take a different example right now. That Daniel Medvedev felt great all 7 matches last year at the US Open. Yeah. Let's even put it down. In order to win a Grand Slam, you got to win 21 sets, correct?
Yeah.
There's zero chance. I'm absolutely confident. Zero chance that Daniel Medvedev felt great for 21 sets last September.
Oh, absolutely.
That's impossible.
But
he found a way to win 21 sets. And that's where I think what's the difference and where the wording that I'm trying to use. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, no, it's true.
Tomorrow's the first dual match of the year. There's no chance that we're going to see 6 clean matches.
Oh, absolutely.
Penn State is not going to come here playing clean. We're not going to come clean. And that's not my expectation. My expectation is that our guys compete and find a way to win with the tools that they're having tomorrow.
And I think my last question for you, and kind of relaying off this, does perfection exist in tennis?
No. No. Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, because everybody's going to hit unforced errors. You look at the stat line. I mean, yeah. I mean, perfection would be a golden set or golden match with no unforced errors. It just doesn't happen.
It's literally impossible.
No, I think the closest you can get to perfection is fighting the whole time, having good body language, overcoming adversity. Because there's going to be momentum shifts.
Yeah.
So if you're going into and I think that's what it really comes down to throughout the whole year, but especially early in the season, is what are your expectations? If a player comes in tomorrow expecting to play good, then he's setting himself up for failure. Yeah, is the expectation I'm gonna find a way to win? I'm gonna go for big targets. Yeah, I'm doing. That should be your expectations. Yeah. But expecting to play good tomorrow is just gonna set everybody up for failure. And it was really interesting. What's coming out of my mouth might sound negative. Yeah. But look at me. I'm actually positive about that. you know what I'm saying?
You're confident in saying it to me.
Because you gotta buy into that. Yeah. If you start believing that, that's when you start making the jumps. Yeah. And that's development. I mean, obviously we're trying to develop our guys on the tennis court with their strokes and everything.
That's your salesman in you too.
Yeah, but the development happens here. Yeah. It's believing, in all of these little things. With all the examples that I gave you. Yeah. You're not going to win 21 sets feeling good to win a Grand Slam.
You're not.
That's just not going to happen.
It's not.
But and that's what tricked. We got all tricked in the last 15 years with Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Murray, Wawrinka. They made it look like it. Yeah. You turn on the TV and it looks like they're feeling good for 21 sets. When Rafa wins the French Open without losing a set, he makes it appear like he's feeling good for 21 sets. There's no chance. I mean, he's his taped knees. For sure, he's feeling pain.
Tape fingers, tape wrist.
Yeah, for sure he's not feeling great about his backhand all the time. Mm-hmm. For sure there's some forehands where it's like, ooh, that doesn't feel as smooth, but we don't see it. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we gotta get our guys to believe in while they're here for 4 years.
I love that. Thank you for allowing me to talk to you about this. This was amazing, and hopefully we get to see you dominate against Penn State tomorrow.
I hope so too.
Thanks.
Thank you.